The year is 2560 BCE. Pharaoh Khufu sits on his throne in Memphis, looking out over his kingdom. The Nile floods right on schedule. The harvests are good. Egypt is wealthy, stable, powerful. But Khufu knows what his father knew, what his grandfather knew. Power fades, kingdoms fall, names are forgotten, unless you build something so massive, so perfect, so audacious that it cannot be ignored, cannot be forgotten, cannot be erased. Khufu makes a decision that will echo through millennia. He calls for his vizier, his chief architect, his most trusted advisors, and he tells them something that must have sounded insane. I want to build a mountain, a perfect mountain, one that will touch the realm of the gods. I want it aligned with the stars themselves. I want it to last forever. His advisors don't laugh. They don't say it's impossible, because in Egypt, they've been building, experimenting, learning. The step pyramid of Djoser was built a century earlier, the first pyramid, a massive experiment in stacking stone. Then came the bent pyramid, where architects learned what happens when you change angles mid-construction. Then the red pyramid, where they finally got it right. Each pyramid was a lesson, each pyramid was practice, and now, with all that knowledge, with all that experience, they're ready for the masterpiece. They're ready for the Great Pyramid. The architect, we don't know his name, but let's imagine him unrolls papyrus across a table. He's been thinking about this for years, dreaming about it. We need 2.3 million blocks, he says. The room goes quiet. Someone does the math. At 2 tons per block, that's... The number is incomprehensible. Where do we even get that much stone? The plateau. Right here. We quarry it from the ground beneath our feet. The granite for the burial chamber. We bring from Aswan. Aswan is 800 kilometers away. Then we use the Nile. During the flood season, when the waters rise, we float them. How long will this take? The architect looks at his calculations, at the workforce they can muster, at the logistics of feeding, housing, and organizing tens of thousands of people. 20 years, he says. Maybe more. 20 years of coordinated effort. 20 years of quarrying, transporting, lifting, placing. 20 years of thousands of people working toward a single vision should have been impossible. But here's what they understood that we often forget. Impossible just means no one's done it yet. Let's follow one of them. His name is Neferu. He's a farmer from a village 3 days north of Giza. Every year, when the Nile floods and covers his fields, he comes here, to the pyramid. This is his 7th season. Neferu isn't a slave. He's paid in bread, beer, and onions. His family gets extra grain rations while he's away. And more than that, he gets to be part of something legendary. He's part of a crew called the Friends of Khufu. They have their own section of the workers' village, their own overseer, their own quota of stones to place each day. There's competition between the crews, friendly rivalry. Who can move blocks faster? Who can maintain better precision? Last month, Neferu's crew carved their name inside the pyramid, in a relieving chamber where no one will ever see it except the gods. The Friends of Khufu are here, it says. We built this every morning. Neferu wakes in the workers' village. He eats bread fresh from the bakery. They bake thousands of loaves every day here. He drinks his ration of wheat beer, but it's safer than water and gives him calories. Then he walks to the construction site. Today, his crew is moving granite, not the local limestone. They usually work with. This is the real stuff. Dark, dense granite from Aswan, destined for the king's chamber deep inside the pyramid. This block weighs 15 tons of stone that needs to move up a ramp that's already dozens of meters high. They have a wooden sledge. They have ropes. They have a technique passed down through generations of builders. They pour water on the sand in front of the sledge. Tea seems like nothing, just water soaking into sand. But it changes everything. The wet sand creates a firm surface. The friction drops by half. What would take 40 men now takes 20. Ready, shouts the overseer. Neferu and his crew grab the ropes. Pull. They pull. The block moves. Inch by inch, foot by foot. They drag 15 tons of stone up the ramp. They sing as they work. An old song, rhythmic, keeping everyone in sync. Heave for the Pharaoh. Heave for Egypt. Heave for eternity. It takes them 6 hours to move this one block into position. Tomorrow, They'll do it again and again and again for 20 years. Inside the pyramid, in a chamber that will remain hidden for millennia, another group works in near darkness. These aren't haulers or pullers. These are the engineers, the mathematicians, the architects. They're calculating angles. The pyramid's slope must be exactly 51 degrees, 51 minutes. Not approximate. Not close enough. Exact. Why? Because mathematics is sacred. Because proportion matters. Because the ratio of the pyramid's height to its base perimeter equals the ratio of a circle's radius to its circumference. They're encoding pi into solid stone, and they're doing it without decimal notation, without calculators, without computers. They're using ropes, measuring rods, and pure geometric intuition. One of the engineers, a young woman trained by her father, himself trained by his father, checks the alignment again. They're using the stars to orient the pyramid. On clear nights, they've been tracking a circumpolar star. They've marked its position as it rises, as it sets. They've bisected the angle. True north, not magnetic north. True north, accurate at 360th of a single degree. When this pyramid is complete, each of its facades will face the cardinal directions with precision that won't be matched by European builders for another 3,000 years. She double-checks her calculations. Perfect. She nods to the overseer. This row is aligned. You can place the next course. Year 12 of construction. Something goes wrong. A section of the internal ramp system collapses. 3 workers are injured, one seriously. Construction stops. The head architect is summoned. He walks through the pyramid's interior passages, examining the damage. His torch casts dancing shadows on the walls. The problem is clear. They've been building the internal ramp system too steeply. The weight distribution is off. They need to redesign, which means delays, which means going to Pharaoh Khufu and explaining that the timeline is wrong. The architect stands before Khufu 3 days later. My Pharaoh, we must adjust the internal structure. Khufu's face is unreadable. Will it compromise the pyramid? No, my Pharaoh. It will strengthen it, but it will add 2 years to construction. Silence. Then, do what must be done. I would rather have perfection late than failure on time. And this, right here, is why the pyramids still stand, because they didn't cut corners. They didn't rush. They didn't say good enough. They adjusted. They learned. They improved. They built for eternity. Year 18. The king's chamber is almost complete. This single room contains 9 granite blocks, each weighing 50 tons. 50 tons, each one floated 800 kilometers down the Nile, dragged from the river to the plateau, pulled up ramps, maneuvered through passages, and placed with millimeter precision. The ceiling blocks are especially critical. If they crack, the entire chamber collapses. Above the king's chamber, the architects create something brilliant. 5 relieving chambers, 5 empty spaces, one above the other, each designed to catch and redirect the weight of 6 million tons of stone away from the burial chamber below. It's stress engineering without stress equations. It's structural physics without physics terminology. It's genius. The workers who build these chambers will never be seen, never be remembered by name, but they carve their crew names on the walls anyway. The drunkards of Menka, the followers of the powerful White Crown. Messages from 2560 BCE. Discovered in 1837 CE. Proof that workers were proud. Proof that they wanted to be remembered. Proof that they knew they were building something eternal. Year 19. The pyramid is nearly complete. Now comes the final layer. The casing stones. These aren't rough quarry blocks. These are polished white limestone from Tura, across the Nile. Each stone is cut with such precision that the joints between them are nearly invisible. No mortar, just stone on stone, fitted so perfectly that you can't slide a knife blade between them. The workers who place these stones are specialists. Artists, really. They check each stone's angle, its fit, its alignment. They use copper tools and sand abrasives to make microscopic adjustments. Why such precision on the exterior when the interior blocks are rougher? Because the casing stones are what the world will see, and the world must see perfection. When the casing is complete, the pyramid gleams white in the desert sun. It's so bright, you can see it from the mountains of Israel, miles and miles away. It's not just a tomb. It's a beacon, a statement to the gods and to humanity. We were here, and we built this. To continue exploring the forgotten and the legendary, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for future episodes.